Welcome, everybody, here to the Sports Talk Network, and specifically here tonight to a special episode of Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Hopefully, my team members and hopefully maybe even some special guests are able to arrive and us talking about everything that went down in the Survivor Series and the aftermath on Raw and SmackDown Live sequentially as well. Big news that did break or was brought up in the Mark group, and also I did bring up on Twitter with our group there. Welcome to follow me on Twitter at WWE_podcast. And there's at WWE_podcast. Talking about Money in the Bank next year, changing and might be having more Money in the Bank ladder matches. Whether there's going to be two of them specifically for men and women, and having both rosters a part of it, or four separate Money in the Bank ladder matches for Raw Women's, SmackDown Live Women's title, then WWE, Universal in that sense. So whether one or two or four Money in the Bank ladder matches, that might be changing. And I was talking about that last night on my SmackDown Live review. For those that haven't seen that, check that out. While I was going through the review, when I was talking about Night of Champions and Jinder Mahal and AJ Styles, I brought up the fact of Money in the Bank and how that, along with Clash of Champions, should be an event that should be treated like one of the big four being added to it, making a big six pay-per-view events in that manner. So I certainly did like to hear about that news, or that rumor, at least, of that WWE is thinking of changing Money in the Bank in 2018 and having it more likely for making it a big event for both Raw and SmackDown Live superstars to be a part of it. So let's welcome my co-host, Kyron Chase, and get his thoughts. What are your thoughts on the news in regards to Money in the Bank for 2018?
Honestly, I actually like the news, but also I have a complaint. I've been saying for years, Money in the Bank should have been added as a Big Five. Heck, before last year, I was almost considered to replace Survivor Series in a Big Four because there was almost no Survivor Series had just been bland over the last few years. But last year and on Sunday, they were arguably the best pay-per-view of the year. My only problem with adding Money in the Bank as a Big Five, even though I want to see two Money in the Banks because for both shows and things like that. Maybe not two women's Money in the Banks, but but I might talk about it later. Is that don't make another 4 hour like a 4 hour show because I hate this idea that all the big four have to be 4 hours. I disagree with that. Made WrestleMania 4 hours, the other big four 3 hours, and every other pay-per-view should be 2 hours to 2.5 hours. That's what I would do.
Okay, all right. I don't mind that. I still would say they have all the big events, whether it's Big Six, Big Four, whatever it's going to be. Have them let them be 4 hours and let them have many matches and other backstage events, and they have to have their time to promote their own network that people already are on, technically, to watch the event. But anyways, to their due diligence in that sense, and be able to fill out the 4 hours and have the shows be what they have been. And it makes sense to have the big shows separate from how you have regular pay-per-view events. That's why they have and have been so far for the other ones, for the big four, being 4 hours in that regard specifically. But moving right along, talking specifically about Survivor Series and everything that did go down. Let's start at the beginning with the pre-show. And just to bring up here with the there we go. Elias defeating Matt Hardy. Enzo Amore successfully defending his Cruiserweight Championship, defeating Kalisto. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeating Breezango. There are those three kickoff matches. So what were your thoughts on the kickoff matches, if you did see them at all?
I don't watch the pre-show.
There we go. Going back to the main show, The Shield defeating The New Day, starting off kicking off the show hot that way. So I guess we'll start there. Your thoughts with The Shield and The New Day starting off the show.
Loved it. It was everything I was expecting the match to be. It lived up to the hype. All six guys looked good. And even though The Shield won, it was obvious they were going to, New Day did not look bad in the slightest. There was one of my favorite moments when New Day hit the double midnight hour and Roman broke the pin up by spearing I forgot who he speared exactly, on top to break it up. That spot was amazing. The triple bob bomb off the ropes was great. And like I said, this is a dream match between two factions who pretty much dominated WWE over pretty much the last 5 years, and it lived up to the hype. No one looked bad, just because they lost does not mean New Day still look great in defeat.
And with their Shield, and as much as I was talking about having or should have the women's five traditional Survivor Series to kick off the show to begin it both ways. The women's to start the show, and the men's to end the show. Still having the Shield and New Day was in its own right. A match that I called you, a match that makes sense to have started the show, especially with the characters of the New Day and the overpopular both of them, New Day or the Shield, but more so I would say the Shield, with them now reforming back together for however long that is to be. Moving right along on the show, Team Raw defeating Team SmackDown Live in the women's traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. I guess your thoughts on how that match went, sequences of elimination, and some interesting matchups, at least to me, during the match in its own right.
It had its moments, but I won't say I really liked it. I was angry about, the way Becky was not only was eliminated first, but the way she was eliminated. Yeah, that's good booking. Eliminate SmackDown's best female worker, not named Charlotte. And of course it angered me because Becky's my favorite. Also, it was cool seeing Asuka pretty much doing what I thought she was gonna do. She was gonna be down and make the comeback, even though I'd have made it 3-1. She kicked the crap out of Carmella. What else? Oh, but one thing I really didn't like was the way Alicia Fox got eliminated. That was a botch because the referee counted 3 when I think she's supposed to tap out. That was a terrible part, but the match was all right. The moment between Tamina and Nia was not as epic as WWE was hoping it was gonna be, and I didn't really care.
I mean, I kind of enjoyed what it was in the beginning with the sit down and everything, but then when they got to actual hustling, it kind of looked a little bit sloppy in its own right. Luckily, there were no actual botches like the Alicia Fox one that was obvious and the biggest one of the night because there weren't too many in the whole entire show, to be quite honest, either. But the battle between Tamina and Nia Jax, I thought was a little left to desire. I thought it could have been better in regards to that. And then with the other eliminations, for instance, have Asuka being the sole survivor, as I said, even in the prediction episode, you have Asuka in the match. You either have her as you should have her as a sole survivor, or you just don't have her in the match at all. You have somebody else there, or if you were going to have a returning page there in that sense, but that was saved for Raw, of course. So, and maybe you're gonna have Asuka in there because that's it's one of those things where it makes sense to have Asuka part of the match because she's Asuka. But then if you don't book her correctly in the match, then fans are gonna be upset in that regard. So to have her in the match makes only right and due diligence of sense to have her being the sole survivor in the match, which she was to most of the fans like WWE Universe. Moving right along, United States Champion Baron Corbin defeating the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. What are your thoughts on that matchup between Baron and Miz?
It's actually all right. It was actually all right. Don't get me wrong, I didn't love it. It was okay. It's better than I thought it was going to be. But I didn't think it was a very good match either. I love the neck brace Ashley was wearing, the red neck brace, and Maurice looked very beautiful that night. But overall, the match was all right. I mean, I should have picked Corbin looking at it in hindsight. But I thought Miz was going to win. It was all right.
I thought Miz was going to pick up the win just because I thought it was a really different place on the card. Plus, I thought Baron Corbin was all right taking a loss. But now with everything that I know now that happened wrong, otherwise that maybe in hindsight I should have picked Baron. Plus, Baron's my dude, one of my favorite wrestlers. So I should have maybe in that sense went over hard or overhead in that situation. Then I did another predictions for the pay-per-view in its own right. And moving right along, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, defeating the Raw Tag Team Champions, Cesaro and Sheamus. What are your thoughts there on the battle of the Tag Team Champions of the brands there? Yeah, go first since he turned away. I thought it was pretty good with Cesaro and Sheamus and the Usos. Good to see the Usos pick up the win. And Cesaro and Sheamus still look pretty good. And with them losing, it's not going to hurt them too much. Not buried. The Usos makes sense to have the wins. You don't have the Shield in that match anymore. The Shield in their own match. So we start to kick off the show with the New Day. Plan probably was going to have the New Day or the Shield to win. So we're going to have the Shield win. Or maybe the plan was wanting to have the Usos wouldn't actually have them have dominant tag team, at least SmackDown Live. But then if that was the case and you didn't want that, the ones to get the pin being the Shield, they're all trying to build up in their own sense. They're on Raw, which makes sense. All right. So then having Cesaro and Sheamus win the tag team titles from the Shield and have them face the Usos, and it's easier to read the book and have the Usos get the win. But what were your thoughts on the battle of the tag team champions?
It was actually a lot. It was not as good as I thought it was going to be. It was a good match, but looking at what those two teams are capable of, it was a bit of a disappointment. It was a bit of a disappointment. Because of what they did last year at Survivor Series, but it was still a good match. And like I predicted, the Usos would win, which they did. Of course, obviously, they were going to win once. At the time when SmackDown were down 2-1, but I thought they would have won regardless.
All right, moving right along. SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair for defeating the Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss in a pretty good matchup and battle. There were your thoughts on that second women's match of the night.
Well, just like Corbin versus the Miz, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I like Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. It's obvious Charlotte's the better wrestler. I like both of them. It was a good match, much better than I thought. And once again, I knew Charlotte was going to win. She's just genetically superior.
I mean, it was just to have Charlotte win. I thought maybe Alexa could have played out, could get a crazy roll up pin or something, and that sort of thing happening in that sense to having Alexa Bliss pick up the win. Hey, Monty, are you there?
Mountie.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey man, what's up?
How you guys doing?
Great.
Good. You guys see me?
No, I can't really see you. It's very blurry. I can't see you at all.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Fuck. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this figured out here. Just give me a second.
Hey, Mel, you can see. Not only did I defeat my brother in the predictions video for Survivor Series, but I also, in terms of the main team of me, Mark, Mike, and Steve, won again. I am the reigning champion on my channel, but also of Team Ramble.
Exactly. You're pretty much running away with this. You're pretty much the 2017 champion. Might as well just announce it here and now. You have had many wins in a row here, specifically, and then let alone you being the champion over in your channel, another channel, champion there. But Monty, we were going through Survivor Series already. Went through the pre-show 3 matches: Shield, New Day, Raw versus SmackDown, the Women's 5-on-5 U.S. title, and Usos with the tag, SmackDown versus Raw, and now we just finished up talking about the women. So we pretty much talked about the whole show, besides the 2 main event matches, being the Universal versus WWE champion, and the Raw versus SmackDown men's match. So what were your thoughts on the other matches that weren't the main event, and how do you think they all went for you for Survivor Series?
Did you guys already cover all those matches?
Yep, all but the 2 main events.
Holy moly. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be this late. I thought maybe I would miss maybe the first one.
Sounds good, bro.
First of all, the first match that I watched was actually the New Day versus the Shield. I guess I made a mistake, and I thought a rookie mistake. I thought actually Survivor Series started at 8. Clearly, I was wrong, and I think I was, at least. I turned it on at 7:15, and it was already a little bit into the New Day and Shield. So I liked the match. I really did. I thought it had a lot of, I mean, they were getting their spots in. Let's put it that way, And I think the right outcome happened. I think there was no reason for the New Day to win, and they kind of kept you guessing a little bit, with the back and forth and everything else. That being said, I really enjoyed the outcome. I enjoyed the match for what it was, for a feud that was put together at the last second. I did feel like they did a good job of entertaining us as fans. It's just really unfortunate that, and this kind of goes down the line with the Survivor Series card, that I really felt there was some magic in a lot of these feuds, that there could have been such a good feud, is what I'm trying to say. If you had the build up, the proper build up, it would have been just look at, I don't know if you guys got into this one yet, and the Charlotte versus Alexa one, like that for an example, right?
Yep.
We just finished it.
You did, yeah. So if I guess it's a good segue to go into that one. Goddess versus Queen. I know we discussed that in the prediction episode. It had all the makings of like a friggin' awesome feud. For a couple of months, you could have ran that one out. It could have been some awesome promo work and whatever. And that's the table that you set when you come up with some sort of venue like Survivor Series with, champion versus champion, brand versus brand. So yeah, hopefully they could revisit these feuds down the road, because I think that you can get a lot of quality TV, Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, whatever the case is. You can get a lot of good quality TV with those feuds. Did you guys touch base on the other tag team match yet? Like the Usos?
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
pretty much everything but the 2 main events.
Oh, so the 5-on-5 you haven't touched, and AJ versus Brock?
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Usos, again, like the right outcome happened. To me, I like the Bar. I think they're a really good solidified tag team. You can take them serious. They're not jobbers. They're really, yeah, exactly, Kyron. Yeah, you got it, buddy. And it's just I was surprised for them to get the titles back, but I guess that's what they had to do in order to put Shield versus New Day or whatever the case was there. They're a great tag team. I thought it was a very good matchup. I thought it could have gone either way, but I was really pulling for the Usos with the year that they've had ever since they turned heel. We touched base on that one in the prediction episode, where they just have so much life into their character, into their personas now. It's a beautiful thing just to see them, how it seems like they're a little bit more in their element. They're a little bit more natural now and less fake. You know what I mean? Like as far as their characters are concerned, I think that it's a little bit of them behind closed doors, but it's just them with the mic, with the volume turned up. And I love to see that, so that was perfect. I love the finish in that match, when I always mix them up. Is either Jimmy or Jay, whatever. It goes for the tag as he's jumping over the rope. It was amazing.
That really was amazing. I literally jumped out of my seat for that one. That was the spot of the match.
Me too. And I was like, you know what? The match has to finish on that. There's some spots that they do where there shouldn't be a kick out, and that was one of them. The quick tag, he goes up, it does the splash, done. I thought it was excellent.
And the best part about that move is that he cleared the ropes perfectly. He didn't touch the ropes. He literally jumped with the tag. And that was amazing. I loved it. So WWE, they had a lot of the right winners in our opinion. In my opinion, I feel like the only one I really got wrong was the women's match. I felt like the 5-on-5 women's match. That was a good match too. Across the board, I thought it was all right. Yeah, I guess you're right, Karen, when you think about it. It was a little predictable as far as you knew. We talked about that. We knew Asuka was going to come with that victory. We knew that it was probably going to – I think one of you guys said it too. It's going to come down to like, a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1. I think it was Steve, right? I said it.
Oh, it was you, right? Yeah, that's right. Steve didn't get much in, unfortunately, last well, at least for the time that I was there. But I like the match for again, what it was 5-on-5. Nia Jax got eliminated way too early for my liking. That's just me. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Nia Jax. I respect her. I think she's going to be a good champion one day.
You want to talk about getting eliminated early? My favorite female wrestler got eliminated first.
Bailey?
No, Becky.
Yeah, man. I didn't like that either. You know what? I do an online it's an online forum, right? It's under bodybuilding.com, and they have a WWE section, right? And I've been a member there for like 10 years or something, right? Before I started YouTube, all this other stuff, obviously. And that was just like, and they do these little prediction games and stuff like that. It's really cool. You guys should go check it out. I'll hook you up with it. And basically, like one of the bonus questions to get some points or whatever, it's all for fun. And was like, who's going to be the sole survivor, or who's going to get the last pin? So since I picked Team SmackDown, I picked Becky Lynch to have the winning pin. Boy, was I wrong. Like, completely wrong. I did not see Team SmackDown's captain get eliminated like that. Like, I know I get it that you have to sort of give Alicia Fox like some sort of credibility now that she has her own T-shirt and she was the captain. Okay, fine, but like, if you would have told me a year ago that like Becky Lynch would have got eliminated before Alicia Fox, I would have told you. You know what? Even if you told me about 2 minutes before the match that would have happened, I would have been like, "You're crazy." You know, I didn't like that at all. But,
Right. Because if there was going to be a captain to be eliminated first, most of us would say, and probably unanimously say, it would be Foxy, Alicia Fox, being that one. Also, Tamina trying to have having her look strong a little bit, especially her being the one to eliminate Nia Jax, was a count up, but still that. And also, I think she eliminated somebody else before Nia Jax. I think it was Bayley she eliminated before Nia Jax with the spy.
Well, they're on the same team, right? They were.
No, Tamina's on SmackDown, Bayley's on Raw. So I thought it would be.
I was surprised they gave Tamina, eliminated Bayley and Nia Jax, because to me, no disrespect intended, she's the worst. She was the first worst wrestler in that match to me.
Tamina?
It should have came down to, and I'm not saying this because of bias, but because it would have been the best match, and it should have came down to Becky and Asuka, and let them go for about 7 minutes.
Agreed.
And that's what I would have done. I'm not saying it because Becky's my favorite. I'm saying it because that could be a great match.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I did enjoy the fact that they finally made like Tamina look like something, because I just haven't been excited about her for so long. But I feel for her too. Like I feel like she has a little bit more to give. I feel like there's just something missing. I don't know if it's in her character or if it's what, but I enjoyed the stare down between Nia Jax and her. I thought that was a cool little moment. They had her in the match as longer than I thought it was going to be. I'm still not, they're giving all this time and energy to Foxy, and again, I feel like she doesn't do well. She doesn't do well. She botched the fucking finish for her to get eliminated. You remember that? Like, that was garbage. Like, I don't know if it was the ref or her or what. Like, it was just, the timing was all off. Like, I don't know. I feel like she's reckless. She's just, for a veteran, she should be a lot better. I'm sorry.
I forget some, but you talking about Tamina?
I'm talking about Fox right now. I feel like.
That was actually the botch of the night, if you ask me, her elimination.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
what I'm talking about.
I guess she's supposed to kick out and then tap out, but the ref said 3. And then I'm like, why is Naomi from the submission? What happened?
Yeah.
And you could tell everyone was didn't know what was going on. Naomi didn't know what was going on. Sasha didn't.
That's right.
Ref didn't. Alicia didn't. That was the worst part of the probably worst botch of the night. I
know. So seeing all that, I was just like, but they're probably still gonna try to run with her, but it just doesn't seem to be working. That's what I'm saying. Like, for a veteran women's wrestler, she should be at this point, other than Natty, some sort of veteran and leader in the locker room. And it's just like, when you have a performance like that, how, like, if I was in, I'd be like, well, why the fuck would I be listening to you? You're not that great. I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like they're just, I don't know. I don't want to say wasting their time. I never want to see anybody like lose an opportunity. I hate to say like you don't deserve it or you should. I would never say somebody should be fired. I'm not about that. So, but there's so much room for improvement. And if WWE is going to give her the opportunity finally to, like, give her that Jinder Mahal moment, if you will, then she has to do a better job, if you ask me. What else was there? The Miz versus Baron Corbin. Again, another solid finish. I loved what Baron Corbin said when he finished the match, where he said, like, my hand went up and your mouth went shut. I thought that was amazing. It's weird. It's weird for me to say like that was the highlight of the match, because it's not really. It has nothing to do with the in-ring ability. I thought the back and forth was pretty solid. There was a lot of interference. They really made Corbin look stronger than he has been in a long ass time. I'm all for it.
They actually kind of made him look like the babyface in a way. Now, obviously, I'm on the side of the Miz because 1, I picked him, and 2, I like him more, and 3, Corbin did talk about his wife and soon-to-be daughter. So obviously, I'm gonna side with the Miz. But the booking kind of made me side with Corbin, because he was It was 3-on-1, 4-on-1 if you want to count Maurice, who looked great by the way. So and yeah, that promo he cut after was the best part of the match. I'm not a big fan of Corbin, especially his personality, but he owned that.
He's getting there. You know, he's finding his groove. I feel like he's gaining a little bit more confidence. He just needs to keep going. Like whatever persona, or I felt like there was a little bit of a difference between his little quote unquote shoot promo on his cell phone and what he does on a week to week basis. I don't know how to explain it exactly. It felt a little bit less scripted. I feel like a lot of his stuff feels really scripted, you know? And I think if he can let go of that a little bit, not try as hard, I think it's going to really benefit him for his future as a monster heel. It's hard for me not to disagree with The Miz when he said, you're another generic big man, and in 2 years you're going to be gone. You never know. You just never know. And I'm not saying that he's going to get fired. It's very possible for him to get lost in the shuffle if he's not careful. He needs to really take this victory for what it was. And it's a big victory, you know, like we talked about. The Miz could have afforded to lose, and he did. It was the right choice. So it's up to Corbin again. It's kind of like the same thing like Fox, what I was talking about before. Now that, you know, Corbin has had a little bit of an opportunity, he can use that. And if anything, he should really, you know, especially now that Miz lost his title, you know, he can maybe even like use that to his advantage. Like, oh, see, I threw you off. You know, like he should work with that. He should build himself up with that win, even though it was just a Survivor Series champion versus champion. But in the grand scheme of things, let's face it, the IC is higher than the US, if you ask me. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree. I don't know. At least I think so.
Yeah, Miz made that title. And, well, we'll probably get into this later. Roman's holding the title now. And, well, I'll talk about that later.
Right. So, overall, decent match. I thought it was going to go on longer than what it did. I felt like the pay-per-view breezed through really quick. I don't know. Was it just me?
So, I'm not the only one that thought that. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the, men's, I'm like, what were they? The men's elimination? Not that's a problem, because I'd rather have something. I've always said this about pacing. I'd rather have something go by so fast, because that way I can rewatch it again and catch more stuff. Then have something go by slow, and it just feels like a slog to get through again. So I'll always take a fast pace over a slow pace. Agreed.
But I did feel like they. What did they have? They must have had 10, 12 minutes tops in that match. And for a pay-per-view that started earlier, and for the amount of matches they had, I really thought that they would have gave them a little bit longer, but hey.
But, Mountie, I think it worked that they didn't get a lot more time, because, let's be honest, of all the matches on the main card, that's probably the match we all were probably looking forward to the least. So,
true.
So, yeah, and, like, none of us really look forward to it. Neither one of them are known for that work rate. So, sure, why not make it, what was it, 7 minutes? Like, 10 minutes? Yeah. That's all those two need, and I'm glad they didn't have it go 15 minutes. I thought making it shorter was the right call.
Yeah, I agree with you now that I think about it. That's true. That's a good point. Am I missing any other matches right now, or did we cover?
Let me show you that. Yeah, show me.
No,
I think we're good.
Yeah, you're pretty much caught up now. Now we're moving on to the WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus WWE Champion AJ Styles. And you guys, give your thoughts on the match first. I'll go over to the co-host. Kyron Chase, your thoughts on the champion versus champion match there?
Match of the night. This match was so much better than I thought it was going to be. I was terrified. This was going to be another one of those the typical Brock Lesnar match. Suplex. Maybe AJ gets a little bit of offense. Suplex, F5, match over. And, they did a good job building it up through the first 4 minutes of Brock dominating and having AJ fight from behind. I don't think I'm angering anybody or shouting anyone when I say this is Brock Lesnar's best match all year, probably the last 2 years maybe. It was really good. AJ, even I knew deep down Brock was gonna win. They had me believing AJ might pull it off when he hit the phenomenal forearm and and the 450, a very good looking 450 at that.
Big time.
I would usually rant about Brock winning with 1 F5, but unlike with Strowman and Joe, this wasn't a match where he got dominated. For 90% of the match and hit 1 at 5-1. He was controlling the majority of this match, and obviously they want to build up the F5 the most dominating move in WWE. So when Roman kicks out at about 3 at WrestleMania, it's gonna feel like a big deal. But it was my favorite match of the night. AJ once again proves why he is the best wrestler in the world, and Brock shows when he tries why he can still be a very good, very entertaining wrestler.
Yeah, go ahead, Monty.
Yeah, I agree. I did not even see this one coming close to being match of the night, even though Styles was in it. Don't get me wrong. Arguably the best wrestler in the world right now, if you ask me, at least in my opinion. I think Kyron hit it on the head, man. I think everything that you said was spot on. It was definitely a lot better than what I thought it was going to be too. Going into the Survivor Series, I was looking forward to Jinder versus Brock. I wanted to see that classic. Yeah, I know, but I wanted to see that classic sort of big man, old school feel to it.
Believe me, man, you didn't. You did not want to see that.
Hey, I was looking forward to it too.
Hey, I'm a Jinder fan. Thank you, Steve. You know, it's really not as, it probably wouldn't have been as bad also as you thought it would have been, you know. Some big high impact moves. It wouldn't have been as exciting. It probably wouldn't have been as quick. But it was nice to see Lesnar, you know, get on his defensive side, and it was still hard hitting also. And Styles took a bit of a beating. It was back and forth. There was some great offense on both sides. I was so happy that obviously it wasn't a squash match, but you couldn't. You couldn't. I mean, they would have been absolutely delusional to think that a squash match would have benefited anybody in that. Like, okay, maybe it would have benefited Lesnar, sure. But what does that say about the recent crowned champion, AJ Styles, earlier that week? It would have been nothing. SmackDown would have been destroyed. Forget about the scorecard for a second. That would have just destroyed their whole brand. If their champion, who just won off Jinder Mahal, got squashed by Brock Lesnar, it would have totally took away any credibility for SmackDown going forward.
It would have. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go for it. Yeah.
And AJ brought up a great point. For those who say, you know, those people out there who don't know what they're talking about when they talk about burial, you know, those are those people out there who think any loss is a burial. One, AJ wasn't buried. Two, AJ made a great point on SmackDown. Yeah, you won the match, Brock, but which one of us was limping after the fact? Oh. Brock walked away from the ring limping. AJ didn't. So AJ did a number on Brock. So he was not buried. He looked great.
He did. He looked amazing throughout the whole match. Oh, I'm not going to lie. Like, I knew Lesnar was going to win. I mean, there was no other way, especially like you couldn't have Raw, quote unquote, lose Survivor Series 2 years in a row. Because let's face it, last year, I don't think they had the scorecard thing, right? I think that was just brought in this year. So that was and if I could just touch on this real quick, that was the way to make the event not just focus on the traditional 5-on-5 matches, right? Because that was the way that because basically Raw would, if they would have took away the scorecard, Raw would have just won outright with both their men and their women of the respected locker rooms winning the 5-on-5. Now you bring into the scorecard the equation, all of a sudden it's a 3-3 tie. They're going into the main event, and who's going to win, right? So it still made SmackDown look a lot stronger, even though they lost both 5-on-5s. I know we're not there yet, but I just wanted to throw that in there. So as far as like the main event for the champion versus champion was concerned, I thought it was really well done. It was really well done. It was a very exciting match. Even though you knew Brock was sort of going to win, or at least I did, they did a really good job of, hey, we might see an upset tonight. We might just see it.
And you believe it.
Yeah. Like they had me for a second. I was sort of doubting myself quietly. I'm like, this looks like he might pull this one off. Once he hit that big forearm on Lesnar and then the 450 splash, I was like, well, those are his big moves. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And it was funny. It's funny that you said the one F5, Kyron, when you were doing like the match breakdown and what you were worried about. It's funny that you said one F5 because yeah, you're right. They're looking for it to be like a one and done going forward. There's no more kicking out until WrestleMania. So if you're getting an F5, you're going down for the 3 count.
What was it? You brought up the thing about the scorecard. Last year, Raw won the women's elimination match. SmackDown won the men's. And they didn't really keep score. And if they had, Raw would have won.
Yep.
Because you got to take into account Raw won the women's elimination. They won the tag team elimination. They won the cruiserweight match. Because I think you got to count that. While SmackDown won the men's elimination and they won the IC title match.
Yeah.
So it was really Raw actually won last year, but they won't count. They weren't on the scorecard.
Exactly.
SmackDown won the big match.
Exactly, and that's pretty much. I mean, you're a rare exception, but what you really remember from last year's Survivor Series is after the brand split and SmackDown won, solidifying their brand going forward after the brand split. Like, hey, this is the show to watch, and they needed that victory. Raw did not need that victory last year, but they did need the one this year. And for Brock getting that victory, tying it up, going 3-3 into that 5-on-5. It just made everything a little bit more interesting. But let's face it, once the scorecard came into effect and Raw was down 3-2, it even gave you a little bit more ample notice that Lesnar was going to go over, right?
And I agree with that. I forgot what I was about to say. And not only did we feel SmackDown had to win that match last year, like you said, because Raw was treated as the A show. Not only did SmackDown needed it more, and like Raw needed it more this year. SmackDown needed more last year. Going into Survivor Series and really up to WrestleMania, SmackDown was the much better show. And they were kicking Raw's ass. So yeah, I felt like SmackDown, they deserved to win. And we'll get into how I felt about this year's elimination. But last year's elimination match was honestly one of my top 10 favorite matches of 2016. It was everything. It was amazing. And awesome. You had 2 very good teams assembled. And we'll get to this year in a minute.
Yeah, good segue though, Kyron. But what about Steve? What did you think about Brock? What do you think about Brock and AJ?
I actually enjoyed it, and I was enjoying and looking forward to Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal, just as Mountie was. And I was actually saying heading into Survivor Series that we probably, and WWE poked themselves into a corner that if you're going to actually go through, have Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar in Survivor Series, champion versus champion, you need, and I believe this, you needed to have Jinder Mahal win. You needed to have Jinder Mahal defeat Brock Lesnar, because if Brock Lesnar squashes Jinder Mahal, Kyron, if Brock Lesnar squashes Jinder Mahal or defeats Jinder Mahal in any way, in any facet, you know what that does to the credibility of Jinder Mahal as WWE champion, WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and the fact that I was hoping Jinder Mahal holds that belt to WrestleMania 34 in Louisiana and drops it at that point to probably John Cena, which was rumored. Because remember weeks before or a week before, whenever that was, when it was something was leaked out of the promo or whatever poster thing, and John Cena was supposed to be the special guest referee, Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar. And I thought, well, that's going. I figured that Jinder Mahal probably will get the win, and John Cena then challenging Jinder, and we have that story to WrestleMania. Like, I was looking forward to that. And you could still have Jinder Mahal win the WWE Championship at Clash of Champions and go forward with Jinder and John at WrestleMania. But with this hiccup, makes me think having AJ Styles win the championship, having AJ Styles face Brock Lesnar in a loss, is saying that is the only reason why AJ Styles became the champion. And that will make it even more clear and self-evident, in my opinion, if Jinder Mahal does defeat Brock Lesnar at Clash of Champions. Now, I did see your video, or your short video there on YouTube, or not on YouTube, but on Twitter, Kyron, about that. So part of me doesn't want that to happen because I like you being on the show. But the other part does want that to happen because I want to see Jinder being the champion, even though it won't be a continuous reign, but still being the champion heading into WrestleMania and dropping it, because Jinder Mahal, for this being his first championship run, or was his first championship run, but what could have been a continuous first championship run ending at WrestleMania, will only build the credibility stronger for modern-day Maharaja Jinder Mahal himself as a character And as a superstar, and the faith that Vince McMahon and WWE put into him, but also the WWE Championship above that. So that's my point on that. Now it's the match of AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar. I definitely would say it was match of the night, and I actually did think during the match that maybe AJ Styles actually might get the W here. Then I realized what the scorecard was at that point. I'm thinking forward to the main event and how that probably might go down. And that probably wasn't going to be the case. If you need it tied up, just because that's how you do things, and should do things for Survivor Series. You have a scorecard, you have it tied up, and you have that last match being the traditional men's 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, being your main event, settling the score. Who is a superior brand? But I just wanted to, my little rant there about Jinder Mahal, former WWE champion.
Steve, there. I just want to say, you say, if Brock Jinder should have beat Brock because if Jinder been squashed, what does that do for his credibility? And first off, he didn't have much credibility to me because he hadn't won a match clean yet. That's number one. And number two, let's say, all right, let's be hypothetical. Jinder is champion, goes into Survivor Series and defeats Brock Lesnar. What does that do? What did I say about Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe? Two people who dominated Brock out their feuds and lost the way they did. That would have made them look worse than that. And I feel they're more valuable today than Jinder is. And I'm not trying to insult Jinder, but that's obvious. I mean, who do we see as a giant star in the future? Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe, not Jinder Mahal. So Jinder had, and I was going to say this on a prediction podcast before AJ won the title, but I felt like if Jinder had beaten Brock after what Brock did with Joe and Strowman, then that would have made Joe and Strowman look terrible because, while Jinder Mahal beat Brock Lesnar, and yeah, neither one of us could despite dominating them. That's just how I feel. And about my Twitter video, I was half joking and half serious. I may just quit YouTube and the Wrestling Ramble if AJ loses that title to Jinder Mahal. I might just quit.
I mean, I get what you're saying for sure. But that obviously that was the path they wanted to take with Jinder Mahal. He didn't have to win a match clean. He's not a face. He doesn't have to. Unfortunately, that was the direction they wanted to go. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me to always do it that way. I agree, especially since, he got that much bigger and he was looking like so much more jacked. Like, how do you take a guy like that and then make him lose like a little bitch all the time? But in recent memory, they kind of did that with Rollins and nobody really said anything. So how come with Rollins wasn't really winning matches left and right, man? Like he was.
And people were complaining about it. I was one of them.
I agree.
Because I came about Seth Rollins and I do Jinder Mahal. Heck, I came about Seth Rollins and I do Brock Lesnar. And I was saying, understand he's a heel. He can't win, clean all the time. He's not a babyface. But he was, at the time, the best wrestler in the company. And I feel like he should be treated with a little bit more respect. And it was the match against Lesnar at Battleground that really rubbed me the wrong way. Because I felt like that could have been a match year candidate. But instead, they just had Seth get zero offense in.
Yeah, well, I think Jinder, too, I don't know. I could be wrong with this. The only quote-unquote clean victory I remember is him rolling up Baron Corbin for when he lost the Money in the Bank. Could I be wrong?
Didn't I say that? Didn't I already say that before?
I don't remember. Sorry. I think you just did, right? Yeah.
I think that's when I said it at the SummerSlam Prediction podcast.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. But it's crazy. It is crazy, and maybe they should have went a different route. So, Steve, it'd be interesting to see if they're not done with this guy yet. And maybe if he does get that second reign or what have you, they should have him a little bit more of a fighting heel champion here and there. He's got to get those. He's still got to get those victories to show that he's a monster heel, not just a weasel heel. I think you can have a nice balance of both of them, But they kind of have the same recipe from the way he won the title to how he was defending and recapturing his title, if you will. Defending it. And it's just, there was multiple of the finish. The finishes were very similar a lot of the time. And that was the problem. I think if they would have spaced them out, probably would have been better,
Yeah, we all know the finish was the same thing. I ranted about it on Twitter. Beat Orton at Backlash and Money in the Bank pretty much the same way. Randy hit an RKO, Singh Brothers got involved. Randy destroys the Singh Brothers. Colossus, match is over. What happened in SummerSlam against Nakamura? Nakamura's getting ready to go for Kinshasa. Saints got involved. Colossus, game match is over. What happened to Hell in a Cell? Nakamura hit the Kinshasa. Things got involved. Nakamura chased him. Colossus. Match is over. And it was at that moment I got angry about it.
And don't forget the Great Khali angle.
Oh God!
Yeah, right.
Punjabi prison. You know, that was another one too, right?
And Khali is thinking he was the champion, raising that title high.
Thank goodness. I'm just serious. If they had gone the route of like having Khali face Orton, or even having Khali in a match in general at SummerSlam, you would have gotten the most bitter Kyron Chase you've ever seen in your life.
Ah. But I think having Jinder Mahal going into WrestleMania as a champion, even defeating AJ Styles as a class of champions, even more so than the credibility of the WWE Championship, it's more for and about Jinder Mahal himself and his character. Because with Jinder Mahal losing the title now, and if he does not regain it at Clash of Champions, I'm fearful that he might be lost in the shuffle, go back to jobber status or something like that, where we're trying to make him a main man, trying to make him a main eventer, being the champion, having the faith in him, giving the push, this and that, and being a former now WWE champion. It best behooves WWE to put the title back on him, whether a short period of time here to WrestleMania, and then whether it's John Cena or Nakamura or somebody else, have them then run with it from there. I still assume it would be John Cena, but either way, having Jinder Mahal take it to WrestleMania, then drop it again to another superstar, and going from there, and at least at that point, at least to me, it would make Jinder Mahal more main man and more of a main eventer, and then he wouldn't, he'd be going back down to jobber status or anything like that, or lost in the shuffle. He'd actually be one of the top superstars, or at least should be looked at that point. He's one of the top superstars of SmackDown Live.
But here's the thing, and I agree with you, but it's like, here's the thing: we don't really know what else Jinder can bring to the table. We've only seen him in two different spots. One as being a jobber, like ultimate jobber, like, fucking Kurt Hawkins sort of jobber kind of deal. And we've seen him at the top. We've never really quite seen him, obviously, on the top in any sort of title. It doesn't have to be the major one. Any title at all. We've never seen like how he would bounce back from that, and whether or not he would sort of get lost in the shuffle. And I think that's what all of his fans and everybody else are kind of just assuming, because that's all we know about him. We don't know anything else about Jinder Mahal other than the fact that he was super crazy jobber in WWE world and champion. So we're all like, well, now that he lost, he's going to be a jobber again. And I don't see it. I think that it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to go with him. They have the Hunter versus, gender thing in India and whatever. I guess I don't even know if it's obviously not televised, I imagine, right? So is it?
I really don't want to see that match, honestly. So I really couldn't care less.
Yeah, well, we'll get to Triple H after for sure. But it's like, I want to see. So I'm still, even though he's not the champion anymore, I'm really, really interested to see what they're going to do with him if they do not give him back the title. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, same here. I know Kyron could care less, but I know me and Monty are looking forward to seeing.
Great talent. He's a great talent. He's booked that way. It is what it is. He's got a good look. He's got a great entrance. I like what he's bringing to the table. I love the fact that he's got life back in his character. That almost borderline flipped the wrestling world upside down this year. It was one of the most talked about things when that happened.
And even just think of the effect of,
right?
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, just think of the effect also with the Singh brothers and how they've kind of gone to stardom in their own rights. Now, are they ever going to be Raw or SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions? Maybe not, but at least now you have more credibility being associated with Jinder Mahal, part of this team, winning the ways that they have hired in the past, with the Singh brothers getting involved. I think just as much as it's done for Jinder Mahal himself and trying to be a main man and being a main eventer and stay in the main event scene, as I do believe he should, whether he gets the title back, drops at Mania, or doesn't get the title back here at Clash of Champions in December 11th, I believe, on the WWE Network. So either way, big for Jinder, but also in
sorry, can I just throw in something real quick? Say what you're saying. Sorry, man. Maybe a good idea and something that would make people look at him a little bit more as a credible threat would be imagine having him win the Royal Rumble. Yeah, like a Kyron.
Oh heck yeah! You know, I should hit by like
Seriously,
Steve Austin music right
imagine
now.
he eliminates like 10 people legitimately and really shows like why he was at the top and how pissed off he is, that he doesn't have the title anymore. He wins the Royal Rumble.
Kyron, think of it even this way. Jinder Mahal is number 30 in the Royal Rumble, and he wins by eliminating Kevin Owens with the help of the Singh brothers.
Let me just say this for the record. I was gonna talk about the Royal Rumble in general, but I think I'm gonna talk about what I was gonna say now. I really think Roman Reigns might win the Royal Rumble because they want to have him face Lesnar for the Universal title. And my thought process for that was they really have the balls to have Roman win the Rumble in the exact same building where he won it at the time 2 years ago in a major protest. This is Philadelphia. This is Philadelphia we're talking about. This is Philadelphia we're talking about. The most, probably the most hardcore fan base in WWE. And if you think they did the Roman Reigns, what do you think they're gonna do to Jinder Mahal? They're gonna be trash in the ring. They might burn the stadium down. Do you really want to see that? Because I know I sure don't.
I can guarantee
you don't. But don't you also think that it also would then even make Jinder even a more prominent, bigger? I wouldn't say face, obviously. He'd be a bigger heel because he's getting all that heat and getting all that stuff happening, especially if he wins the way that I said, whether it's against Kevin Owens, I don't really care who it be, whoever that last superstar he eliminates. But with the help of the Singh brothers, again, like I said, in association with Jinder Mahal, those two are gaining credibility in WWE. They're doing themselves. So having that being part of the finish to the 2018 Royal Rumble and having Jinder Mahal win and him getting his title match that way because he lost at Clash of Champions, let's say that's how that thing is booked. He loses to champions like Kyron wants, but then at the Royal Rumble, you have Jinder Mahal winning it. I'll let Mounty go now.
No, sorry. I guarantee you that Philly would boo a lot more if Roman Reigns won rather than Jinder Mahal winning. I will make that bet with you right now.
I agree. You're probably right. Here's what I say. One, you guys know, he's a heel that gets booed. For the billionth time, this isn't good heel heat getting booed. It's go away heat. And the words of JD from NY, this is get off my TV heat. That's number one. And number two, here's a better option for you. We have Nakamura win the Royal Rumble, and at WrestleMania we get AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE title, which is the match everyone wants. Everyone else, besides probably you two and a few other people, wants to see. Everyone wants AJ versus Nakamura in the main event of WrestleMania. That's what I want. That's the majority everyone else wants, and it has appeal to both probably casual and hardcore fans.
Yeah, I would like to see it too. I'm just saying in the sense of Jinder Mahal, I'm thinking of him. I'm thinking of his future in WWE and everything that I think it would best behoove having him either going to WrestleMania as a champion, winning in a Clash of Champions in December, or him winning the Royal Rumble and facing AJ Styles at WrestleMania to win back the championship then at that point and having his next reign as WWE champion. So let's see. I'm going to ask Kyron this. Which scenario would you rather have? Jinder Mahal winning his second WWE championship at WrestleMania against AJ Styles, or Jinder Mahal going into WrestleMania as WWE champion and John Cena winning his record-breaking 17th championship?
Well, I'm screwed either way because I got to deal with another Jinder Mahal title reign. But if you held a gun in my hand and made me choose, I would probably say the latter for the simple fact I want to see my favorite wrestler get number 17 and pass this guy right here who's on my T-shirt.
Yeah, I have that shirt. I have the same shirt. Awesome.
That's cool. So if you made me pick, I would say the latter, but I'd rather not have neither. I'd rather have AJ as champion into WrestleMania.
Okay. Monty, I guess I'll just ask you that same thing. Which situation would you like more?
What was the first one again? It was Jinder Mahal.
The first one, Jinder Mahal winning the title back at Clash. Jinder Mahal losing at Clash, winning the Royal Rumble, facing AJ Styles to win his second title. And the first one was him losing at Clash, winning the Rumble, and winning the title from AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
Didn't you say John Cena, you mean, right?
Yeah, John Cena in my first scenario, yeah. Winning from Jinder, who would get it back at Clash.
Ooh. Which one? I mean, there's a difference between which one I'd want to see. So you're saying So Jinder Mahal would go into WrestleMania and beat AJ Styles. That was the first option, right?
I'll try this again. The first one being of Clash of Champions here in December. AJ Styles retains the title. Jinder loses. Jinder wins the Royal Rumble, and then Jinder wins the title from AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Second scenario B, had Jinder Mahal winning a Clash and then losing to John Cena, and John Cena being the new champion at WrestleMania.
I mean, which one is better for business? The second one, obviously. It makes more sense, especially to have a big moment like that. Big moment for John Cena, especially if he's on his way out. Like you give him that curtain call, so to speak. Of course, like that is the best move. But I wouldn't be mad if it was the other way around. Like I would like to see Jinder Mahal win the Royal Rumble, maybe even with like less interference. Maybe just do it by himself, that sort of thing. I don't know. And then have him go into WrestleMania to defeat AJ Styles. I just don't think that it's going to have as big of a market as they want for a main event. So my emotional feelings aside, as far as what match I'd rather see Jinder versus AJ. Yeah, for sure, of course. But at the same time, what makes more sense from a business standpoint is to have John Cena go against Jinder Mahal. To go against Jinder Mahal and win for sure. I mean, it has all the makings, especially with the kind of career and life that John Cena has put into the business. Like you have to give him, you can't give him a fucking 17th reign at, Great Balls of Fire.
Nah, that's a WrestleMania moment.
This guy has been your bread and butter for so long. Even though he was away for so long, he made that Survivor Series match even that much more interesting because it's John Cena. You're like, well, maybe SmackDown could win because John Cena's there. Let's face it. He's not an easy guy to get out of anything. He doesn't seem to be doing well he doesn't do well with these mixed tag stuff or like multiple opponents, if you will, like Elimination Chamber. He's not really the best one in it. Survivor Series, not always the best, but he's still an element of a threat, right? So you have to, and I'm not the biggest Cena fan, but I have to respect everything he's done for the business. And I'll even admit it, it's not as interesting sometimes when he's not there. He brings that element of, he's just very entertaining. He's so good on the mic. He makes everything that much more better about the WWE. You know what I'm saying? Like basically what I'm trying to say is I'm going to miss the guy when he's gone, even though I wasn't his biggest fan. And that means a lot to just the world of professional wrestling, right?
Right.
Well, I am his biggest fan. So I'll probably cry the day he retires. And I'm not understating that. Shawn Michaels retired, I cried.
Daniel Bryan, that one was different. That was different though, right? Because he was literally getting way different.
Yeah, but with John Cena, you grow up watching him. He idolizes. You idolize him growing up, and even though you're not a 7-year-old kid no more, you're 17. You still look up to him and still root for him and things like that. Heck, I got emotional seeing him beat AJ at Royal Rumble. So if he does, retire, I'm gonna probably, the little kid in me is gonna probably come out and start crying. I admit that.
Yeah, exactly. So I really do think that the best way to, if they're going to go in that direction and sort of phase him out, which it seems like they're sort of doing, you got to give him that big moment, man. Just give it to him, and then hopefully afterwards, Steve, he'll be getting a standing ovation instead of a big boo fest. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's any of those that are Cena haters years and years from after he retires or whenever he goes in the Hall of Fame, whatever, years in the future, however that to be, some more of those, I would hope some of those would come to the other side, be understanding of how great he was for the business, how good he was individually as a wrestler, all the great matches he actually had, and not be so blinded with your blinders on.
Beautifully said. I agree with you 100%.
So hopefully that is the case for those. For me, myself, I never loved John Cena, but I certainly as heck respect the man and respect him for all he has done for WWE in business sense and also how good of a wrestler he is in that ring, in that 4x4 there, for sure. So that's, again, just me, myself, and I thinking in that way. But wow, we talked. We rambled on something else, but we did talk a lot about champion there.
Right? It's all relevant.
I'm just saying, because I did think while Kyron was speaking that we still have the main event, the men's traditional Survivor Series 5-on-5 matchup, Raw versus SmackDown Live. Team Raw getting the win. We see Triple H pedigreeing Kurt Angle, and we find out on Raw. Now you're going to deal with Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle and WWE Hall of Famer, not GM Kurt Angle. But we'll get to Raw when we get to Raw. But here, still on Survivor Series, what were your guys' thoughts on the main event? Everything that happened from start to finish, bell to ding bell. We'll start with Mountie.
Oh, man. You know what? Looking at this stacked 5-on-5, it was impossible not to get excited about this one. Everybody from, Balor to Rude, you had some up-and-comers, if you will, only because they just haven't, been in the WWE. It's not like they're, young talent, it was an older batch of talent. And it was just you had so much star power from Orton to Cena to Strowman to Angle to Triple H. I mean, just whoever was going to be in the ring, it was going to be either some sort of little mini dream matchup or some sort of matchup that you just wanted to see, And I thought that the matchups were amazing. I loved the fact that we saw Bobby Roode versus Triple H, especially, with him being sort of I don't know what the word is, but he kind of praised him in NXT and he helped him a lot with NXT, and then he brought him up and everything else. It was funny when he was doing, that little wind up that Bobby Roode does. He's kind of oh, right. I said, before that, I said Triple H should do the same thing and do the suck it sign. And sure enough, he did it. I wish I had it on video because I totally called it. But man, I said he should do that because it's just going to get a huge crowd reaction. I'm going to say also, and I don't want to be a negative guy about the main event because I did like it. I was very entertained. I didn't take my eye off it for a minute. I'll be honest. And that it's kind of rare that happens sometimes. But, Survivor Series as a whole did a good job. I did feel like Angle kind of showed his age a bit and Triple H showed his age. I don't know if it was ring rust or what. Angle, he seems so stiff in the ring. It's just me. He used to be super loose going all over the place. And I get it. He's had crazy injuries with the neck and all that kind of stuff. But man, it just seems like he was just very cautious about every single move that he was doing. And it's just, I don't know if there was a place for him there. You know what I'm saying? Going into it, I thought it was interesting. But once Triple H came in as another, a little factor, I was like, well, what's the point? And then obviously we saw what the ending was about. It was just hilarious. At one point, you had Strowman that was taken out on the suplex. By the way, that was a pretty sick spot, right? When all of them suplex Strowman. I like that. That was good. So you had Strowman out on the outside, and then you had Shane and Randall against Triple H and Angle, right? And it's just hilarious because for a split second I thought, you know what? If somebody didn't tune in for WWE for 11 years, let's just say, for argument's sake, and they happened to tune in to Survivor Series at that given moment, they would have been like, wow, nothing has changed at all. You know what I mean? So I thought that was hilarious how that happened. And then Strowman came in and, Finn Balor kicked around longer than I thought. It was a tough one, man, because you're just like, ooh, who do you eliminate first? Who do you eliminate second? You knew Bobby Roode wasn't going to last long. You kind of knew Finn Balor wasn't going to either. But they still got their spots in. I love seeing Finn Balor versus Nakamura. And you're right, Kyron. Everybody wants to see that match, man. That's why they're chanting WrestleMania chants, these house shows and all kinds of things like that. They should just make it happen. Forget all these other angles. Make that one happen. Just roll with it. We don't know how long AJ Styles is going to be in the business, man. Give everybody that match. It will sell. Because guess what? Everybody that, I know you want to bring back their old fans and the veteran fans and whatever and cater to everybody to be like, okay, Brock Lesnar's and okay, we have John Cena and, we have all these guys, these big name guys. Yeah, fine. But, oh my God, WrestleMania grand stage, those two guys. I mean, you saw the reaction that people got in the Survivor Series. Woo.
You know something, Mountie? I agree with almost everything you said. from, for example, I'm gonna go by, a lot of what you said, just piggyback off you said. First off, with Balor Nakamura, it was great. And it makes me think, wow, it was AJ instead of Finn Balor. I even called the spot when Shinsuke rubbed his head on Balor's stomach. I said, remember the match he had at NXT, he's gonna do the 2-split on his forehead. That's number one. It was cool seeing, it was great seeing Rude versus Triple H because that's his illegitimate son. The Spine Buster versus Spine Buster and the Glorious versus Sucky and things like that. You were 100% right about when you said, if you tuned in after 11 years, you say nothing has changed. I get why they do it, and you talk about with WrestleMania. WrestleMania isn't for us anymore. I don't think WrestleMania is really for hardcore fans who are gonna be there. Like, WrestleMania is for those who dipped their toe in at Royal Rumble and stayed at WrestleMania. And to prove it, look at WrestleMania this year. How many matches at WrestleMania didn't involve a part-time or someone who used to be there to be about 10 years ago? Not many. And, that kind of helped because, I went to WrestleMania. And, me and my younger brother, we watched the show. We watched the product pretty regularly. My mom doesn't really watch it anymore. She loved it, growing up, but she hasn't watched it in a long time. But being at WrestleMania, she knew enough about certain wrestlers to understand, to get it. Like, she knows who Shane McMahon is. She knows who Chris Jericho is. Her favorite two wrestlers growing up was taking Goldberg. She actually had a loud reaction for both of those guys, especially Undertaker, because that's her favorite. So it works to get, for old fans, but at the same time, and this is where I'm going to rant, I felt like the match on Sunday just wasn't that good. It was decent, but it was disappointing too. Because let's be honest, we can't rely on part-time forever. And yeah, you use that. Here's how I look at it. You use their names to sell the event, but you don't use their names, like you don't use them to say, okay, we're going to build this match around you. That's not how I would do it. I had no problem with Cena, Orton, Shane, Triple H, and Angle being in it because they are who they are. They're legends.
Of course.
But at the same time, when the final 5 participants in that match are Angle, Triple H, Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, and Braun Strowman, only one of them is someone who I see a future, and that's Braun Strowman.
Of course.
And that's a problem for me. Certain wrestlers getting eliminated. I would have honestly. And it was cool seeing things like, it was cool seeing Joe and Cena and Joe and Balor. Please give me both of those matches. Please, Joe and Cena at some point, because I want to see Joe versus Cena more than John Cena versus Finn Balor personally. It wasn't a bad match, but it was very disappointing for me personally. Especially, like, I know you can't do this, but I got to do it. Comparing it to last year. Last year was amazing. You had Shane McMahon in it, but that was the only real part-time in that match. You had on SmackDown Shane, AJ Dean, Randy Bray versus Braun, Seth, Roman, Jericho, KO, and everyone felt necessary in that match. It was great, and everyone had something to do. This match, John Cena really could have been taken out of it, and not much would have changed. Sure, it was cool in my nostalgia to see him and Kurt Angle because they're my two favorite wrestlers of all time. But you could have took a few of these guys out and nothing would have changed. You didn't. And now let's go to Triple H. How do you go from one night being the most loved person backstage with TakeOver War Games, which was admittedly an incredible show, to now everyone's complaining about your ego again. Oh, you're letting your ego put you in the final 2. Like, you can't do that. It just doesn't work.
Not to mention, he got entered in the match about 5 days before that, right?
And he entered himself into it.
Yes. So I agree with you. I think that, I get it. You want to set up some sort of feud for WrestleMania, but it doesn't have to be the end all be all of Survivor Series. You could have got eliminated first with some scrap with Angle. Or, you have some sort of angle where Jason Jordan screws over Triple H, and then that sets up, like, him getting in the face of Angle. Like, you don't have to end the show and be the man. Your time is done for that. Like, back in a couple of years ago, WrestleMania 30 with the whole Sting versus Triple H, I liked the way they did that one. You know why? Because there was, like, minimal focus. It was like a solid little amazing angle in the middle of Raw, not at the end of Raw. It was just there. And you don't have to be the whole the whole fucking show. You don't have to end the show on you an angle like that. You just don't have to do it. I agree with you.
And Jason Jordan cut that promo early tonight. Honestly, I didn't watch it because I really couldn't care about Jason.
What was the point of that? Nothing happened from
exactly. I thought, okay,
he's gonna get involved.
And when Zayn and Owen showed up as early as they did, I said, okay, Zayn and Owen just showed up. Are they gonna do two interference in the same match? And it wouldn't have made sense, but honestly, it probably would have. I would have done that with what we had. I've talked about Jason Jordan's acting before. I find it cringeworthy. I think better acting in porn than I did from him. But what I'm saying it just didn't, like, why do that promo on Survivor Series if you weren't going to do anything with him that night? You could have took that promo off the show and nothing would have changed.
Agreed.
But then again, they did the same thing with modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal and had him have a promo that was taped. I'm talking about AJ Styles, him wanting AJ Styles to win because he's with the brand of SmackDown Live, but also hoping that Brock destroys him, because he wants to get his title back, sort of thing.
But at least that was setting up a feud. Like, I understand they're probably gonna try to set up Jordan versus Triple H. Don't do that to Jason Jordan for his career. Don't do that. But at the same time, we knew not Warren Styles were in the middle of a feud. While they're hinting at a feud with Jason Jordan, is it gonna be with Triple H? Probably. But do you want to see it? No. Well, I'm not necessarily, excited about Mahal and AJ. The match they had in London was actually admittedly very good. So at least and plus I think Mahal might have been on a pre-show. I don't remember. And so, yeah, I understood that promo. But with Jason, I didn't care. And and now I don't want to bring up. I don't know if you guys too. My network stream, especially during the main event, was downright awful. Especially on my computer, to the point where I literally couldn't watch it on my computer anymore. I had to watch the main event on my iPad. The iPad you guys see me recording with right now is what I had to watch the main event on. Meanwhile, throughout the entire show, there was no problem. During TakeOver, no problems. But during the main event Survivor Series, then the network wants to start, messing with me. I was not happy about that.
Yeah, that's understandable. My thoughts on the main event, I enjoyed with the back and forth having the one-on-one matchups. Samoa Joe, John Cena, Bobby Roode, Triple H. That started on that battle between those two, and then with the ending, certainly was interesting with Triple H turning on Angle, and Angle kind of took that pedigree rough. I don't know if he had, but that I think even Triple H himself was checking on Angle for a second before moving on, but. Because Angle just, I don't know, man, he just took that rough, that pedigree, and that turn, and then Triple H again turning on Shane and pedigreeing him, getting the win for himself, and back to the Eagle thing of Triple H, different from Triple H main roster guy and superstar to Triple H creator and leader of NXT, joined their colors there in that sense. And then you had at the end after the win, Braun Strowman when he choked Triple H. To the corner, and Triple H literally like crying and scared for a second there, it looked like. So in that was actually kind of an interesting, funny moment, like, holy crap, dang, sort of thing. So that was a cool moment in its own right. But all in all, that main event did deliver match of the night for me, quality at least wise, and kind of there. But for me, actually, the match of the night, I would say, since I would go first here, I would say match of the night for Survivor Series of 2017 would be The Shield versus The New Day. That kicked off the show. So that's where I go for match of the night. Where do you guys go for match of the night for this year's Survivor Series? We'll start with Kyron.
Match of the night, it was AJ and Brock. It beat out New Day and Shield just by a hair, just by a little bit. I think it was just the extra, the story they told was just enough to make it match of the night. However, I know you didn't ask me, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Match of the weekend was War Games. Then Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black. That was great. Moment of the weekend was Ember Moon winning the title, especially Asuka handing her the title. Not gonna lie, that made me cry a little bit seeing Asuka give Ember the title away. That happened. So match of Survivor Series was Brock AJ. Match of the weekend was War Games. Moment of the weekend was Ember Moon winning the Women's Championship.
Match of Survivor Series would have to go to AJ versus Brock. Barely edging out. Man, it's a tough one. I really like the Usos match too, but Yeah, it edges out, I would say, in my opinion, New Day versus Shield, because I was really into that, and I thought it was a great way to kick off the show personally. Match of the weekend, for sure, in my opinion, Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black. It was just, the ring psychology was so on point. They really have something with Velveteen Dream on this, man. Like, he's got an entrance and a presence about himself that you just don't want to take your eyes off the TV for a sec, in a weird way. Kind of like, you know what? It kind of reminds me in a weird way of like when Goldust first started like getting.
I knew you were about to say Goldust. I knew you were gonna say Goldust.
Yeah, man. Like when he first came on the scene, it was like, what is going on? You know, and he's like this mix of like Goldust, Orlando Jordan, and like fucking Rick Rude. Like,
first off, Mountie, I know you didn't mean it that way, but don't compare someone like Orlando Jordan to Velveteen Dream. That's disrespectful to Dream. That's
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. But anyhow, more of a comparison between Goldust and Rick Rude. All right, we'll end it there.
There you go.
We'll end it there. But yeah, that was match of the weekend for sure. Ring psychology was on point. Just great spots. You know, they were just, it was more of a mind game also, as well as a wrestling match. It was just beautifully great story told. And
the mind games and story in that match, you know, when them just sitting in front of each other, it didn't drag the match down and make it feel stupid. You know, if they had taken that the wrong way, they could have easily like, can we just get back to the wrestling, please? But they had, like you said, they had a presence and ring or around them that made it work to the point where you see them sitting in front of each other even for like a full minute. Like, wow, that's really impressive. It didn't feel stupid.
Yeah, and me and Nathan were talking about it. He brought up a really good point where he said that, you know, at the end when he said his name, even though he just beat him, he didn't have to do nothing. He could have just went away. But it was like a fresh way of like shaking his hand, which was really interesting.
I think he actually, it worked better of him not shaking his hand. Like, if he shook his hand, oh, cool, he shook his hand. But that wasn't his game plan. What he wanted to say his name. And
that wouldn't be exactly. It wouldn't be Aleister Black if he was to do something like that, right?
Living for me, Velveteen, the Dream. I see a future star from Velveteen Dream with that one.
Oh, he was made that night, you know, and he did this really cool double meaning tweet where he said the dream is over. Now, what did he mean by that? Did he mean like his dream is over, or did he mean the dream is over? Get it? But you're not really supposed to say words like that, at least in WWE. Maybe it's because he's in NXT that maybe Hunter doesn't care. I don't know. Like, I wonder. You know what I mean?
Finn Balor does it all the time. He did it today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I know, but you're not supposed to. You never hear the commentators say words like that. I know this for a fact.
Yeah, allowed to.
Exactly.
But yeah, he wrote like never forget or something, or forget or for anyways, he did that once today. I even commented on it, but I don't even remember what it was. But I remember he did spell over. Forever?
Yeah, because Vince said he's not over enough or something like that. And Finn
he just tweeted a picture of him in the stadium, whether it was WrestleMania, whatever show it was, with crowds being packed, you know. So
yeah.
And basically it does say forever, but the O, V, and E are capitalized, so he made sure he say over. You might get yourself in trouble with that one, Finn.
He might. It's a tough one, but it's a loophole, right? But nobody's stupid. Let's face it. You know, like we all know what we were trying to do there. But Velveteen Dream he's got a bright future, man. I hope this is one of those gimmicks that just keeps going strong. And you know, I wasn't sure if he was going to win. It really seemed like he was going to win at one point. I was like, that would have been an interesting way to give it Aleister Black's first loss, right?
Yeah,
I don't think he's lost yet.
I think having him lose the match did better for him than if he had won the match.
Yep.
And speaking of NXT, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go on to the episode of NXT that just aired, and I'm going to watch Johnny Gargano versus Pete Dunne.
All right. And NXT being a very good show, or the NXT TakeOver War Games being a good show, and I would say for me, match of the weekend coming from that very show, but it's not that one. It's not even the NXT Championship match where we have crowned a new champion. For me, personally, The match of the weekend coming from NXT War Games is the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. Kairi Sane, Ember Moon, Peyton Royce, and Sanity's Nikki Cross doing battle to become the new NXT Women's Champion, having Ember Moon get the win, having Asuka there to personally hand the title to Ember, all that. The match itself, with the spots, were amazing. I would say, for me, that being the match of the weekend.
That was the only way Ember can get the title off of her, is by having Asuka literally give it to her.
Yeah, but it worked. It worked. Don't like that moment. It worked perfectly, if you ask me. Like I said before, I was like, I was pulling for Ember anyway because it'd been cool seeing any of the other three women win. With Kyrie, I don't know if she's ready just yet. Peyton Royce, it'd been cool if she won. Nikki, I saw your tweet about Nikki. I disagree with that. I think I love Nikki Cross. I just love crazy women in general. And unlike most women who are supposed to be crazy in the main roster, she makes it work. Take notes, Alicia Fox.
I was gonna say, do you like Alicia Fox then?
That's why I had to say that. But just seeing Ember win, especially that double eclipse, that was a great spot. She hit eclipse on both. Cross. And I literally jumped on my chair because I was so happy. I was happy for her. It's just great seeing someone you really like struggle and finally achieve their goal. Like I said, her and Asuka, they're best friends in real life. And, knowing that, her giving the title to her, I don't think that moment could have been I don't think that moment would have been even better, like, any other way. I think having Asuka hand Ember the title was the best way to go.
Yeah, of course. I totally agree.
Passing the torch and say, okay, you're the leader of the NXT women now. You lead NXT women.
Exactly. And Ember Moon winning it there in her hometown there in Houston, Texas, just like Naomi won the Light Women's Championship in her hometown in Orlando, Florida at WrestleMania. So it was pretty neat in its own right there. Before we move on now, done with Survivor Series. Actually, one last thing. What do you guys would give a grade and grading on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, awesome, best thing ever. Grading 1 to 10, how would you grade Survivor Series? We'll start with Mountie.
Ooh. Am I able to put 0.5s on this thing or what?
Sure, that's up to you. No, you can.
I'm going to give it Survivor Series. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I thought it was really a good show overall.
And Kyron.
Yeah, Mountie, I'm with you. I would probably say 8.5 as well. The only reason I'm not going 9 is because the main event was disappointing. And I said this in plenty of other my reviews, especially I think my No Mercy review. The main event, regardless of how good the rest of the show is, if the main event is not good, then that could kill the whole show. So I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Now, in my reviews, I usually go by letter grade. So I said probably give it a B+. So I think it was actually one of the best pay-per-views of the year. But I might save like a top 5 show pay-per-views of the year for a future video.
Okay. Yeah, everybody look out for that. They're over on Kyron Chase's channel. For me, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Definitely delivered. It has, some miscue moments. Alicia Fox's Bosch, Kurt Angle taking that pedigree, not like a champ. And other little issues and nitpicks during matches and during the whole entire show. But all in all, delivered, especially delivering just in the matches with the traditional 5 Survivor Series matches, men and women overall. So I would say A-, I guess, in that way. 90%, 9 out of 10 for Survivor Series for me. So let's move over to Monday Night Raw. We do have Raw and SmackDown to talk about. So, but before we do, I want to give a shout out to another wrestling podcast I did during the previous episode at the end. After the event that happened there, another wrestling podcast, www.anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. Check them out. Also on Podbean, iTunes, and anywhere else. Just Google them. Pretty much Google them. Another wrestling podcast. You find where they are, social media and otherwise. Let's move on to Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw starting off with the general manager, Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan, and Braun Strowman all confronting Triple H. Because Stephanie came out there first, and then Triple H, and then aforementioned thereafter. So I'll get you guys' thoughts on the opening segment on Monday Night Raw. We'll start with Mountie.
Hang on a second here. It's hard to say. I mean, like I understand why they went with Steph and Triple H and everything. I don't know, man. Like The whole main event sort of left like a weird taste in my mouth from Survivor Series, and I wasn't as amped up to sort of watch the beginning of Raw. You know, Karen, do you know what I mean?
Mountie, I was gonna say exact same thing. I honestly watched maybe two segments on Raw, which was the women's segment and the main event. Even the main event I didn't really watch because I was more entertained watching the Seahawks and the Falcons than I was watching Raw. But the opening segment in general I thought was meh. I didn't really watch it, but I did laugh pretty hard when Jason Jordan said, "I'm the one that can beat Braun Strowman." I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was pretty funny. But I was just like on my Survivor Series hangover, not in a good way, to the point where, do I really want to even watch this show? Not really. I'll watch a couple things just to see what's happening, which is why I wasn't tweeting with you guys. But I didn't really watch a lot of Raw. I watched 2 segments.
All right. Yeah, well, I was going to say, you probably also, and I was thinking of you when it happened, when he also tried to punk out Triple H, calling him a coward and wanting to face him, and, throw it on with Triple H. So that certainly in his own right was interesting. But, yeah, I like the opening of the show, and I guess since I saw a couple of things, I'll just breeze through between the beginning, because for me, there was 3 parts that were the best. The beginning, the middle, and the end. We already talked about the beginning, so let's just breeze through to get to the middle part. Samoa Joe defeating Finn Balor, Asuka defeating Dana Brooke, and Dean Ambrose defeating one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Sheamus. So I guess I'll just throw this to Monty. Your thoughts, if it'll, for those 3 matches.
Well, I mean, look, let's face it, Dana Brooke, whatever. I don't really care much for her right now. Nor have she was the most relevant when she was with Charlotte, and ever since then, nobody wants to come out and see you do a front double bicep pose. All right, so like change something. It's just I don't like it, So Asuka winning, no problem. What the hell were the other 2? I'm kind of like Kyron, where I'm like, what really happened this week again? Like
Samoa Joe defeating Finn Balor, and then Dean Ambrose defeating Sheamus.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like Finn Balor defeating Sheamus. Yeah, exactly. So like with Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, it's again these kind of matches highlighted like NXT main events for the championship, and it's like Raw is always in a rock and a hard place when it comes to like putting on 3 hours of television, because you have no choice. You can't put the same matches on every week, but yet you don't want to give away these classic awesome matches for free. It just takes away from any sort of feud, because we kind of seen it before and whatever. So I understand, Samoa Joe, he's got to get going. He's always kind of like, he's there. He did a great job against Lesnar. I love that. But other than that, like, and winning the #1 contendership, obviously, what has he really done? He hasn't done that much. He's always kind of put into these scramble matches, see how he's going to do and whatever. And he's like, he seems like, even Survivor Series, I felt like he was overshadowed. I felt like he was the one on Team Raw that like nobody, I want to say nobody really cared about. Obviously people cared about him, but do you know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like there was a lot of focus on him, nor was there any possibility of him like being at the end, which is unfortunate because he's just such a great talent and a big talent that WWE signed through NXT and everything else. Right. Mm-hmm. And what was it? What was the other one you were talking about? Sheamus?
Yeah, losing to Ambrose.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, like I don't care much for it. I mean, both of them are involved in, some sort of tag team angle. I don't really like the one-on-ones when it comes to tag teams and stuff like that. I feel like they should just keep a tag team and that's it. But then again, you're going to see a lot of the same tag teams over and over going one-on-one against each other and stuff like that. So Dean Ambrose, how I feel about it. I know you love him, Steve. I don't care much for him as a face singles wrestler.
Just to respond to that, I understand what you mean about Ambrose. I mean, I'm a Dean Ambrose fan. The problem with Ambrose, and I complain about this with Randy Orton too, but I always thought about Orton because Ambrose actually has a personality as a babyface. Is when he's motivated, he's one of the most entertaining guys in WWE. I mean, just look at him when he's with the Shield, just like right now. He was super motivated, and I felt, wait, this is the Dean Ambrose I know and love. When he was going against Seth Rollins in a feud of the year in 2014. This is the Dean Ambrose I love. But when he won the WWE Championship, while it was a great moment, like, where were you? Like, where was the Dean Ambrose we all know? Like, you weren't that guy.
No, he wasn't.
Like, that's my problem with Dean Ambrose, is that I think he always felt better chasing the title than when he's holding it.
Yeah,
because
he's
when
one.
he took the WWE title, it was great. When he was chasing the IC title, great. When he was holding it, they really did nothing with him. And it's not his fault. I mean, WWE's not giving him any good material. But at the same time, he's not really working with what he had.
Title doesn't make the guy, you know. It's the man makes the title. It's just that's the way it's always kind of been, right? And he's just a classic example of it. I am really excited, and I'm sure Steve, you're not going to deny this one. Once the Shield breaks up, it has to be because of Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose has to be the one to implode the Shield this time, and it's going to be amazing. And then I will care about him as a heel singles wrestler.
Yeah, because you can't make it Seth Rollins again. It just wouldn't work. And you can't make it Reigns because WWE doesn't want to turn him heel, even though really Reigns looks like, you know, he could be the best heel of the three of them. Because remember, when they first broke up, we all thought it was going to be Ambrose. But you look at the gimmick, the corporate, you know, being the corporate champion, Ambrose fits that mold the least. I think Roman would have fitted the best, but Seth did a good job. So yeah, I mean, it's gotta be Ambrose because Rollins is finally starting to get his foot in as a babyface. And why would you have him break the Shield up after he's talked about how he always he looks and regrets it? It was a terrible decision. You know, I look about everything I lost when I did that, and why do it again? With Roman, obviously, it would make sense to turn him heel, but they won't do that because for obvious reasons. And with Dean, it works because who felt the most betrayed by Seth Rollins?
There you go.
Who has had his doubts about Rollins when they first got back together?
There you go.
Dean, like, you can tell that's just perfect motivation. As if, and if you're upset about it, you know, you did this to me, and you thought, I don't forgive or forget that easily. Yep. Great storyline right there. And the promos they could cut with each other, perfect.
Yeah, especially with his old career. I believe he was a heel before. Well, I mean, obviously he started off as a heel with the Shield and whatever, right? NXT, that sort of stuff. I mean, yeah, I think obviously it's the best because Roman Reigns going in, it wouldn't really, I mean, yes, it would be awesome, but you're just flipping the fans. So half of them hate him, half of them love him. And then all of a sudden, the ones that love him are going to hate him, the kids, you know, the kids and the women and whatever. And then, like, you know, you're going to have the guys like, you know, you or me that are just going to, like, be all about it. It's the Cena factor. It's the Cena factor as far as, like, you know, turning Cena heel.
But like, you say, oh, you're just being a biased Cena fan. Maybe I am. But Roman, like, with John, obviously I grew up like him, so this is going to be different. But even if I took the bias out, Roman just doesn't have, you know, the personality John had. He doesn't have the personality or charisma or even charm that John Cena has. Well, yeah, John Cena said a lot of cringeworthy and stupid things himself. At least with Cena, he has the mic skills that he can turn bad, you know, material into something that can work. Because, like, and obviously I feel sorry for Roman because he suffers from bad script more than anybody. John has seniority and it also has the ability, probably the best improv skills in WWE. To the point where you give me a bad script, I'm going to say some of the stuff you want me to say, but I can add my own stuff to make it a good promo. With Roman, he doesn't have that, and I feel sorry for him for that.
Well, I mean, like, John Cena is obviously on the same level as far as, like, improvisation as The Rock. There hasn't been anybody close to The Rock, and Cena's probably the only one. But Roman Reigns, like, don't underestimate him, man. He's got some good one-liners here and there. He had one on Raw too, you know, when he was talking about the Miz and everything else. And he's gotten a lot better in the last, like, year and a half, 2 years. You can't say that he hasn't gotten a lot better. I mean, it's easy to improve from shit, but he got a lot better from shit.
See, unlike most people, and they know who they are, I'm not one of those idiots who's just gonna, you know, dog on everything Roman does and not give him credit. That's not fair. You can't just hate on someone for no reason. I don't hate Roman. I never hated Roman. But I feel like, you know, I'm gonna be fair to the man. Like, okay, yeah, you were terrible on the mic. It wasn't necessarily your fault. Have you gotten better? Yes, he has. Now, is he on a level of a Cena or a Rock or even a Miz or Paul Heyman? No. But I mean, I'll still listen to him when he talks because, you know, he's not as boring and mundane and robotic and sounds overly scripted like he used to.
All right, now let's move on to the second biggest thing going on from Monday Night Raw, and that being the return of Paige. And as she even said, she didn't come alone. She has some backup Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, two NXT women being called up to the main roster, along with Paige returning, attacking Sasha Banks, Bayley, Alicia Fox, and Mickie James, because there was a fatal four-way for the #1 contendership, who is going to face Alexa Bliss next year. Now that was Survivor Series in the rearview mirror, moving on forward for Monday Night Raw being Royal Rumble, because remember, as I'm sure you guys already know, that SmackDown Live has Clash of Champions. It is not a co-branded pay-per-view like I wanted it to. I hope it is in the future, as I said last night in my SmackDown review for that and Money in the Bank. But as it is right now, it is a SmackDown Live only pay-per-view. And there is no Raw pay-per-view. I even had to check the lineup for the WWE pay-per-view events. There is no Fastlane or a Roadblock or anything for Monday Night Raw. Their next event technically is Royal Rumble, and their next Raw exclusive event isn't until after Royal Rumble, of course, for them. So they have a long road to the next pay-per-view event of their own, let alone of a pay-per-view in general, with being the co-branded Royal Rumble pay-per-view there in 2 months. So that's in its own right going to be interesting how things are booked. But specifically here, Paige, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose showing up, attacking them. Then later on, attacking the Raw Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss herself, and then making that impact. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on the impact they made, and Paige being the leader of this group. Monty?
Oh, whatever. You know, Paige has lost it for me. I just don't. I'm not interested in her. I look at her completely different. This has nothing to do with, you know, the scandals and whatever. It really doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just I see the attitude in her as she comes out, and it's just she thinks she's God's gift to women's wrestling, and it's like relax. You know, like you've been doing this for like 4 years, as far as like WWE is concerned. Yes, you're still you're kind of a big name. It's a pretty big return, but I don't know, man. I just can't get behind it. Like, okay, I am sort of glad that she's sort of working this angle with like a, you know, like a little trio of 3. Okay, I can see how this could get interesting, but it's like, other than that, like I didn't like how she came out. I didn't like her facial reactions. Just there's something about her, man. It just bothers me these days. Just cringeworthy. Like just how she talks, and she just expects everything. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just can't put my finger on it. It just bothers me.
I think it might have been also for you, or I know it was for me a little bit. That was kind of taking me away. What actually was happening was Paige had a little bit. It seemed like she had a little too much red lipstick on. Like, that was a little too much. Like you put a little too much extra. There was kind of, I mean, we're past Halloween now. We don't need to be scared. So that certainly was its own interesting thing that I noticed. That I know it had nothing to do with, you know, the attacks and stuff, but it just was interesting. And along with the big red lipstick sticking out her tongue, like she's Gene Simmons of Kiss as well. So those two put together certainly was in its own right interesting. But Kyron Chase, what are your thoughts on Paige and her now team that I guess came from Tough Enough when she was one of the judges, a coach, or whatever at that time, and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were part of that, part of the cast of that show. So, what were your thoughts on everything and what happened on Raw?
It was great. I mean, I love seeing Paige again. I was wondering, you know, when Alexa said, you know, there's no one to challenge me, like, why didn't Paige come out right then and there? Like, that didn't make sense to me. Whatever. Now I was happy to see Paige again. I actually kind of like the red lipstick. I'm not gonna lie. My problem was with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Like, neither one of them, I don't think, are ready to be on the main roster. And especially Sonya Deville. I'll be honest, I thought she was Shayna Baszler at first. I said, oh, Shayna Baszler's there. Oh, wait, that's not her. And I'm gonna link this on the SmackDown because pretty much the same thing happened the night after. Why not have just made it 2 women and make it Paige and Ruby Riott? And if you do have to have a third, then make it, you know, Liv Morgan or something. I just feel like, and honestly, Ruby Riott and Paige probably would go great together. My little brother actually thought Ruby Riott was Paige last night too. But it was cool seeing Paige again. But the other 2 with her, it kind of killed it. Even though, you know, they jumped everyone in the ring, they jumped Alexa Bliss backstage, and I would love to see a Paige versus Alexa Bliss feud. They both good on the mic. It'd probably be a good match, and I think Paige would be the person to take the title off Alexa.
All right, so you think Paige would be deserving of taking the title off Alexa before Asuka? Kyron?
I'm not saying. Well, here's the thing with Asuka. You don't want a situation where they hot shot it and quickly put her in the title picture. Let her. I mean, obviously, we know people watch NXT. We know what she's capable of. We know what she can do. But and I hate doing this. The casual fans and people that don't watch NXT don't know about her. So with that, it's like, okay, you got people who we know who she is, but a lot of people don't get it. Build up a little bit. Here's what I would do. Why not do a feud between Asuka and Sasha? Because that's a legit match that'll be good. And have it be a good match. Asuka and Sasha have a great match with each other in no one contendership, and Asuka beats Sasha, and then she goes on. Like, build Asuka up a little bit more first. Like, we know Paige is. But yet there are people that don't know about Asuka, so let her build herself up a little bit more. You don't want enough situation where people say, "Oh, this person is just automatically getting this push." That's gonna have people resent her, and we don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a good job at least bringing her back this time. It was more of a surprise factor. And that's why, I didn't do any reaction video to that because, let's face it, we all knew she was going to come back. So I'm not going to sit there with my camera and be like, "Oh my God, she's back." I try to be legit, So, but I enjoyed the fact of how they did it. I'm very happy it was that, other than a commercial break and, hey, after the break, Paige is coming back. I hate those. So they did a good job at least bringing her back. And, I definitely think that, having Mandy and everything else, it kind of helps. It makes it more interesting. It's not just, okay, Paige is returning and that's it. That's all. It definitely adds a little bit of element of, well, what's really going to happen with her this time around.
And now moving forward, to get to the main event, which was Roman Reigns defeating The Miz for the IC Championship. Braun Strowman defeating Jason Jordan via disqualification. Kane returns, but Strowman up with a chair. We had a cruiserweight match: Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, Akira Tozawa, and Mustafa Ali defeating the Zo Trainer, Duke Galak, Davari, Tony Nese, and Noam Dar. So the cruiserweight match. Then the third match, Matt Hardy attacking Elias. There, any thoughts, Mountie, on the three matches there with Braun and Jason Jordan with Kane return, and then also the other match being with the cruiserweight division?
Well, I don't have too much to say about him other than, obviously it's good that Jordan is standing up for his father, especially after, Stephanie and everything else. They warned him pretty much that Triple H is not afraid of anybody in the locker room, and would take on the former tag team champion on kind of deal. I see where they're going with this. I know why they're doing it, but it's just Jason Jordan is they have to do something a little bit different with him, like we spoke about in the last prediction episode, where he's kind of getting that Rocky Maivia treatment right now, and it's just not working, so I don't really care too much for it. I love the fact that they're booking Braun stronger and stronger and stronger each and every time. I'm loving that. So it's cruiserweight's going to be cruiserweight, man. And Enzo is the right man with the title right now until we see what happens after that. Yeah, that's that's pretty much all I have to say about those ones, really.
And then now to the main event, Roman Reigns defeating The Miz to become the new Intercontinental Champion. And the rumor for that match, or for that finish to happen for Roman Reigns to become the new IC Champion, is the fact that The Miz, we're doing another Marine movie.
Yeah.
So he'll be away for a while. So putting the title on Roman Reigns now makes the most sense. But I want to get you guys' thoughts on the match itself and Roman Reigns becoming the new IC Champion.
Great match. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
First off, sorry, I was over here laughing at Draymond Green being stupid and getting another technical foul.
That's Draymond being Draymond.
Yep, he's cussing referees out. I'm loving it because their ass is kicked by the Thunder. But anyway, first off, let me say, didn't care about the cruiserweight stuff. Heck, that was actually the time I actually went and took a shower for school the next day. Now, I didn't care about that match the slightest. And I'm not joking. I said, oh, cruiserweights, what's going to happen? Maybe it'll be a quick segment. Then everyone got a mic. I said, all right, now I'm going to go take a shower. I'm not going to miss anything important. And I didn't. Then what was after that? You said, oh, Jason Jordan and Strowman. Why are we getting Strowman versus Kane? And don't give me that excuse of, oh, this is just going to get Braun over. What's Kane going to do that Big Show couldn't do and did better? Because Big Show actually got in shape for those matches, and all three of them were very good. They broke the ring, and then the steel cage match was amazing. Those two matches, all three were amazing matches. So there's nothing Kane can do for Strowman that Big Show didn't already do. And with Roman Reigns winning the IC title, like I said before, I didn't really watch the match because I was busy watching the Seahawks and the Falcons. And I definitely got, I think that was definitely, I got that more worth it because that was a great game to watch. I get why, Miz is going to film Marine 6, and they want to make Roman a Grand Slam champion. I mean, with Brock gone, they needed no one title on Raw. Might as well make it the IC championship. But I really don't care that much. I don't remember who I tweeted this to. I forgot. It might have been either Mountie or Stephen A. They said, what if Roman holds the title to WrestleMania? So he's going to have 2 titles coming out of WrestleMania then. I'm going to see where it goes, but I probably wouldn't have put the title on Roman personally. If they put the tag team titles back on Rollins and Ambrose, they do the thing again where the Shield hold all the gold, but I wouldn't do it.
It's a tough one, Like I guess I don't really know why they went with Reigns. Like it's they just started this faction again. Don't really need the gold unless they're going with an angle where the Shield gets back the titles, and then they're just like this dominant faction. If they're gonna go that route, okay, I guess that's why they did it. But I mean, it would have probably been a lot better and more well received if it was to be somebody like Finn Balor just coming out and like an open challenge or something like that. Like that would have been very well received because,
And then you can have Balor and Joe feud over the IC title. They have a reason to feud.
Exactly. Like there's so many possibilities after that.
And those matches could honestly headline a pay-per-view. I mean, I would definitely see Joe and Balor in the main event for the IC title.
Oh, yeah.
Great match, and it gives the IC title some legitimacy. Heck, yep. I argue at No Mercy in 2016, Miz and Ziggler's title versus career match should have been the main event of that pay-per-view. So I feel like, it's good for both the guys and the title.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. And it's like we go from The Miz having this awesome reign as IC champion, making that title so much more prestigious. And he has done it even without this reign. He definitely made this title prestigious, right? He has. And you go from that and then to taking a photo of Roman stage, that's hilarious. Roman Reigns backstage holding the title behind him, like on his back shoulder. Not a lot of people like that sort of movement, I
don't like how I'm afraid with Roman. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But remember what happened when he won the U.S. title? And like you said, he's going to be having the title over, having the title over his shoulder, coming out. Sometimes might not be coming out with it at all. And John Cena pretty much said this. When I won the U.S. title, I used it to elevate other people and had great matches week in and week out. When you won it, you took that as a demotion. Yep. I'm really hoping that they actually have Roman, defend the title and do something. And because they just do the same thing that they did when he won the U.S. title. 1, I think disrespectful to everything Miz did for the title. And 2, there's no point in that. You could have dropped to someone else not named Roman Reigns. But I guess they didn't want to have the right to say, oh, Dean Ambrose right now is the only member of the Shield to be a Grand Slam champion, because that's something that no one brought up until the next night after they won the titles, because I thought for sure Roman was going to be the first Grand Slam champion of the 3 and had about being Dean Ambrose. So I hope the only reason they didn't put the title on him was just to say he's a Grand Slam champion, because that's cheap.
Yeah. But I think Roman Reigns already did say the WWE in the WWE.com or YouTube page video of that Roman Reigns now is going to have like an open challenge like John Cena did with the U.S. title. And maybe from what Kyron was saying with what happened there with John Cena and that promo between them, maybe in the storyline sense, Roman's going to be like, okay, that got, hard, and now I'm going to try to make this title prestigious because I'm the big dog and all that other stuff. So, but that's coming up next week or starting next week, or I'm just going to start. He's going to have the open challenge have that, and it'll be interesting to see how that is booked moving forward with Roman Reigns as the Intercontinental Champion and having this open challenge as the IC champion, and then maybe it'll get to a point where the Miz, when Miz comes back and he answers the challenge out of nowhere or surprise return, and then you have that rematch. So, I guess that's what I was hearing, knowing that's what's going to be going on moving forward for Roman Reigns and the Intercontinental Championship, and technically defending it weekly. So. There you go for that for Monday Night Raw. Thought a pretty good overall Monday Night Raw show. Anything else added that you want to speak upon, Rob, before we move on to SmackDown Live?
Well, actually, Steve, I just I got to let you know because I got to take off right now. But I want to say thanks a lot for having me. Huh?
Okay, you have anything quick you want to say about SmackDown before you have to shoot down here?
I didn't get a chance to watch it this week, unfortunately, so I really don't have much to say about it.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
But thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You guys take it easy, huh?
You too.
All right, you want to plug your stuff?
Yeah. Okay. Follow me on YouTube, obviously. Mounties Corner. Can't miss me. Pop it in YouTube. It'll come up. Instagram, Mounties_Corner. I put some cool stuff, usually any sort of backstage, any sort of things about my videos or anything new and upcoming coming your way. It's on the rise, baby. We're up to almost 545 subscribers. It's been this is 1 year. Now, actually, Steve, now you think about it, you have marked my 1 year anniversary on YouTube because my first video was a Survivor Series review, but I did it by myself. So a lot can change in a year, as they said in WrestleMania 20. Don't remember 23. Anyhow,
Happened in a year.
Yeah. So
WrestleMania 24.
24 exactly.
I would know. That's my favorite WrestleMania. I would know that.
Great WrestleMania. And you can follow me on Facebook too, or even Twitter. So Twitter at Mounties Corner, and on Facebook, just look up Mounties Corner, and you're gonna find me. So look for me on the subscribe, hit the bell, and I am the Mountie, and I always get my views. Rip them. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Love it, bro. Take care. And we will move on then to SmackDown Live. And before we do, again, I wanted to promote another wrestling podcast. www.anotherwrestlingpodcast.com, Podbean, iTunes, and other stuff. Just search them on Google. Another Wrestling Podcast with Angry Cooter, Mike Colon, and host Steve Credo, where you can follow them individually on Twitter at Credo, at Angry, or The Angry One, and at Mike Colon 4, the number 4, Real. And again, at Mike Colon 4, Real as well. And then the show, A Wrestling Pod. For Another Wrestling Podcast, you can find them on Twitter. Again, just search them on Google. You'll find all of their social medias and all the online places to watch their episodes. Like I said, iTunes and Podbean being the most popular from what I hear of their fans watching their content. Also, they are on YouTube as well, Another Wrestling Podcast, so find them here as well for videos and interviews that they want to upload here on the YouTube. Subscribe and ring the bell. So let's move on to SmackDown Live, starting off with Shane McMahon talking about how SmackDown Live was so close. Yeah, they were so close, defeating Monday Night Raw. And calling out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and that back and forth. And then Daniel Bryan interrupting when Shane McMahon was going to say those two famous words that his father made famous, Mr. Kenny McMahon there. And before that happened, Daniel Bryan's Mr. Kid Heath comes out there and Sami Zayn trying to kiss ass and Daniel Bryan telling him just to shut the heck up, please. Thank you. And having to do it twice. So that interaction there was kind of interesting in its own right. And then Daniel Bryan, instead of letting Shane fire them from SmackDown, Daniel Bryan puts them in a match. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus The New Day with the rest of the men's locker room as lumberjacks, with Xavier Woods being the main, the head lumberjack, so to speak, for that match. Now, I thought it was going to be, as Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan were saying about the whole SmackDown roster, and even how they had to let Randy Orton have the day off because they, didn't want to trust what Randy Orton was going to do if he saw them, stuff like that. Which next week we'll get that match anyways with Owens and Orton. But I thought it was going to be Owens and Zayn versus against the whole roster in a match. I don't remember when exactly it was. But it was on Monday Night Raw years ago when it was leading up to a triple threat between Randy Orton, Triple H and John Cena, and each week they got to make matches for the other superstars. And Triple H, it was his week on Raw, and he had Randy Orton and John Cena face the entire roster in a handicap match there, and then in the end, Triple H comes out there and pedigrees both their asses. So I just remember that when I was thinking here in the opening of SmackDown Live, but will they go in that route at least of having two against all, so to speak, on SmackDown Live? But no, they went specifically tag team match, being a lumberjack match. So that setting up for the rest of the show, setting up for the main event, and therefore. So, Kyron, what were your thoughts on the opening segment there of SmackDown Live?
Honestly, Steve, you hit up every point I was going to say. I thought they were going to do, the two against everyone out of the roster. I love heel Sami Zayn, by the way. I just love, his promo ability, his personality. I just love heel Sami Zayn. And being with Kevin Owens, I think they bring the best out of each other, personally. It was a decent opening segment, but nothing special.
Okay, and moving right along, Shelton Benjamin defeating Jey Uso. Any thoughts on that match?
Didn't watch it.
I enjoyed the match for what it was, and it's building up to having Shelton Benjamin and Gable. I almost said Charlie Haas, but no, Benjamin and Gable to face the Usos for the tag team straps at Clash of Champions. Again, Clash of Champions being announced pay-per-view, being a pay-per-view that should be part of the Big Six, having every title being on the line. So, of course, we'll have the tag team titles, SmackDown Live, specifically tag team titles on the line, which will probably be Benjamin and Gable versus the Usos. So, having Shelton Benjamin defeating Jey Uso, then probably next week, we'll have Jimmy Uso defeating Chad Gable, in a one-on-one contest, and then go from there, and however else to book it. 4 weeks, 4 SmackDown Live shows heading into Clash of Champions on December 11th on the WWE Network. Moving forward, I don't know if you saw this match, the debut of the Bludgeon Brothers defeating the Hype Bros, so brothers versus brother teams here, Hype Bros and the Bludgeon Brothers in a tag team match, and of course you should have the Bludgeon Brothers getting the win. They're debuting the Harper and Rowan coming back with this new gimmick, with this new shtick, with this new thing. So I'll let Kyron go first if he has any words on this match. If you did see it.
I think it was I think I like this gimmick with Harper and Rowan. I think they should have been putting them back together. Rowan does his best when he's teaming with Harper. The music was good, and them destroying the Hype Bros, I like that too. It was all right. It was good. It wasn't great, but it did what it was supposed to do, and that was reintroduce Harper and Rowan as the Bludgeon Brothers.
Exactly, and actually seeing Harper obviously poses weight, but Rowan actually doing well, and have you putting his part in, part of this tag team, and Harper just carrying it, and how their entrance music, everything really about them, I actually am enjoying, at least for the first night, and I really am interested and intrigued to seeing how things go moving forward. If you really want to think about forward booking, if the Bludgeon Brothers are booked correctly, if they can still get over in time. Sometimes when superstars have to get repackaged or have new gimmicks, some of the WWE audience, the WWE universe don't care, either because this new gimmick sucks in itself, or just in general because we're kind of, in a way, brainwashed to think that, hey, maybe this second way doesn't always mean that the superstars can get over, or this is them just grasping at straws with gimmicks with these superstars, or this and that, however you think, and that's your own personal accord. But for me here with the Bludgeon Brothers, I gave it a chance, wanted to give it a chance, see how it was, even though I did kind of shit on their promo packages and videos leading into their debut, and that's being truth there. But actually seeing the wrestlers, seeing them come out, everything from the entrance to the match itself, I'm really enjoying to see it. And forward thinking, just think about this: if the Authors of Pain are called up by the end or after WrestleMania, and you have Bludgeon Brothers versus Authors of Pain after that Bludgeon Brothers being built up for many months. That could be a dang good quality match there with those two when, of course, they're being called up to the main roster if it is SmackDown. Wow. Or how things are going to be said at that point. Because you never know. There might be not a brand extension, but a draft or a superstar shakeup, or things might be shaking up for sure around, and we'll see how that goes moving forward. Jinder Mahal trying to get a leg up on AJ Styles, because AJ Styles answering the challenge to Jinder Mahal, because what I thought was supposed to be an actual championship match tonight, in the end turned into Jinder Mahal saying that he's going to revoke his rematch on his time, and his time is going to be at Clash of Champions, or he'll revoke his rematch clause and face AJ Styles and try to get the championship back, as we already kind of spoke about But you have any thoughts on that promo change and that segment between Styles, Mahal, and then also the attack with the Singh brothers?
Honestly, I didn't really watch that part either. Honestly, Steve, I'm gonna be honest with you with SmackDown here.
Mm-hmm.
Other than everything with the women and the opening segment, and I didn't watch anything other than the stuff with the women, the opening segment, and the concluding segment. So I can't really give you a lot of my opinion on SmackDown.
Understood. And I guess since the two last things are things that you did see, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan causing chaos during the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which was the rematch of Charlotte Flair champion against former champion Natalia. You had them attack. I would say it was pretty interesting. Before that, even you had them attacking Naomi and Becky Lynch in that 6 spot with Becky Lynch when one threw them into a into that crate or whatever that was. And I actually thought that was like a real injury. Like Becky did well selling it and continuing to sell it when they were closing the door there on her ribs as well, selling it even more like she was about to cry or something there. So good job with Becky if that was the case. But I actually thought it was like a real injury. Maybe not anything serious, but I actually thought that her meeting I thought that happened sooner than it was supposed to. Like she's raising her impact and it happening earlier. Like I actually thought, and I even watched it again on the WWE YouTube channel. Still thinking that to be the case, but in the end, both great selling by Becky, because that probably was more the case than what I was thinking in that sense. And then you're having the championship match, having them come out there, attacking both challenger and champion. I thought that would have been a great opportune time to have Miss Money in the Bank Carmella cash in and win the championship. I mean, have that big moment happening on SmackDown Live. Almost trying to upstage the debuts of Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan of that team on SmackDown Live. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. They didn't want to have anything that would overshadow that on SmackDown Live specifically. But it would have made SmackDown Live feathered in the cap of best show of the week over Raw and just in general, if that did happen. And not just for me personally as a big fan and Carmella being my gal in that sense, but having Carmella win the championship, having her win it in that way, with inadvertent help of the new trio on the show, certainly would have been interesting in its own right. What were your thoughts on the debut of Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan?
None of those three are. I don't think any of those three are really. Kyrie, pretty much. My brother just said what I was gonna say. They're not. I don't think they were ready. None of them. Maybe Ruby a little bit, but even I don't think she was really ready to be on the main roster. I did tweet that I thought that they would attack Charlotte, Carmella would cash in. And a lot of people on Twitter agree with that. Like, why not do it? I mean, I don't want to see Carmella take the title off Charlotte, but whatever. Once again, I said I would just put Ruby Riott with Paige and maybe Liv Morgan. But even then, I don't think Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan are really ready. At least with the one on Raw, they had Paige, someone who is confident on the mic and has been there for a while and can wrestle. Not saying everyone else can't, but I don't think they're ready.
All right. And moving on to the main event, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeating the New Day in the Lumberjack match, which was surprising in its own right. Lumberjacks causing their own chaos, kind of like a Royal Rumble moment there with everybody attacking each other. And Owens and Zayn getting the win. Then Daniel Bryan telling Kevin Owens that he wasn't planning to fire them, and Owens is going to face Randy Orton next week on the show. So what are your thoughts there on the main event match and everything that happened subsequently to end the show, SmackDown Live?
Steve, I thought it was a good match. The way Sammy and Kevin won by, being chaos on the outside, Sammy with the roll up. I thought it was kind of funny when Kevin. Kyrie, you see I'm talking. Kyrie, why are you making this noise when you see I'm talking? You're being rude right now. You see what I'm doing? I thought. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Steve, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. I gotta handle my brother real quick. Go ahead. All right, let me talk. Stop doing that. You know what you're doing. What I was saying? Yeah. What was I about to say? Kyrie.
She calling me.
I thought it was stupid having Owen. I'm gonna Steve, just to let you know, I'm gonna hurt my brother by tonight. He won't see Thanksgiving tomorrow at this rate.
Oh, dude.
As I was saying, I thought it was stupid seeing Owens on his knees begging for a job. Even I did kind of laugh at Owens, leaving Sammy, not coming back for him, and then Sammy not, leaving when he had a chance. I thought it made Sammy look stupid. But overall, I thought it was a good match. And I just think, they made Kevin Owens look dumb, on his knees begging for his job. I knew Dane wasn't going to fire him to begin with. Because if he was going to fire him, he would have let Shane just do it.
Exactly. But interesting way to end the show. And now next week we're gonna have Kevin Owens facing Randy Orton 1-on-1, and maybe this will just lead to a point where they get traded or they leave themselves and show up on Raw all of a sudden on a blue moon, and Raw getting the coup, like a coup, getting them both on Raw and this and that, like that happening. Maybe even before Clash or after Clash of Champions. But when then they're both on the road to the Royal Rumble, technically at that point, because right now SmackDown Live is on the road to their own pay-per-view Clash Champions, and while Raw already on the road to the Royal Rumble. Maybe then after Clash Champions, because you have this back and forth between all this thing between Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and then you can have the in between management issues between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, because at some point then Shane will keep doing things to them or Daniel Bryan himself, and then Kevin Owens and Zayn either getting fired or quitting SmackDown Live or just leaving and going to Raw, coming out of nowhere. However, it's going to get booked. I do think at the end, Zayn and Owens are going to Monday Night Raw, especially when you had Kevin Owens in his promo talking about how he would have or they would have beaten the likes of Triple H, Kurt Angle, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, pretty much the whole team in Raw, and then along with Brock Lesnar. So bringing up all those Raw superstar names, we think that is going to be the way it goes, of them going over to Monday Night Raw. So SmackDown Live, pretty good show. I would say SmackDown Live being better than Monday Night Raw this week here in the shows after Survivor Series, at least for me. There was only one news item. I know we talked about one at the start, but just I want to talk about here at the end. With all these women being called up from NXT, it's being rumored that they will have a women's Royal Rumble, and that's why, and we might even have more call-ups before Royal Rumble, which I don't see, but maybe. To have enough for a women's Royal Rumble in 2018. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's why they were called up and why they're having now these influx of women on the main roster coming up from NXT to have a women's Royal Rumble when we get to that point in 2018?
Well, according to Dave Meltzer, that's the plan. Obviously, you gotta take Meltzer with a grain. You gotta take Meltzer with a grain of salt because he's not always right. He's not always right. But also, I think SmackDown did win between the two shows, even though I barely watched either one. What I did watch, SmackDown was a superior show. Because, with Raw 3 hours, nothing really happened. But with SmackDown, stuff did happen. I do see a women's Royal Rumble. I don't particularly agree with having one. Especially calling these many women up from NXT who really aren't ready. But, it's like I said, if that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do. So yeah, they're gonna probably do a women's Royal Rumble, even though I think they went around it the wrong way. They could have just had the women from NXT show up anyway, but not have them win it.
Yeah, true. But yeah, pretty much we'll do it for tonight's episode. But pretty much we did go about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours exactly. I don't know, because I know I started a little bit after 7 o'clock Central, and start time for tonight's episode. We did go a lot longer, and I thank Mountain's Corner, Mountie, for being here. We'll follow him on Twitter and find him on social media and otherwise. Another Wrestling Podcast, anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. Check them popping in iTunes and otherwise. Kyron, welcome to promote yourself over. Let people know where they can find you on social media and as well YouTube.
Follow me on Twitter, SplashRoKyron. Instagram, SplashRo_Kyron. Tumblr and DeviantArt, Kyron Chase. My YouTube channel is Kyron Chase. I do videos on wrestling, Sonic the Hedgehog, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And I'm planning on getting. Will you shut up? Dang. I'm planning on. No. I'm planning on getting a special Thanksgiving Day video out for tomorrow. So if you subscribe to my channel, you'll see that video. If I can get it written down and record it by tomorrow, because with cooking going on and things, I might not have the time. Once again, Steve, thanks for having me on the show. It was fun having Mel T from the time. He was here. He's definitely the reason this went longer than we thought it was going to go. And happy Thanksgiving to you, Steve, and everyone else watching.
Exactly. I echo that. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, to Kyron and his family, to everybody out there watching live or otherwise that celebrate Thanksgiving here in the States. Happy Thanksgiving. If you're watching in another nation, Just have a great day. Have a great upcoming weekend. Just enjoy everything. But here in the States, happy Thanksgiving and have a great Thanksgiving weekend. Stay safe, have fun, enjoy your time with family. And remember, tomorrow at the dinner table, if you guys do this like we do in our family, say what you're thankful for, most thankful for the calendar year between Thanksgiving last year and this Thanksgiving, because you should always count our blessings and know that we're lucky today to be alive and otherwise as well. Welcome to follow me on Twitter at WWE_podcast. Subscribe here to the channel, ring the bell, like this video specifically, and share the video if you care to. Great episode. Like I said, I think we went about 2 hours. But above all else, as always, take care.
Peace out.